Madness and greatness are two sides of the same coin. Every time a new Targaryen is born, the gods toss the coin in the air, and the world holds its breath to see how it will land. Well, this is quite a famous quote by Cersei Lannister from the original Game of Thrones series when she's talking about the Targaryens. Well, how does this quote relate to a famous character from House of the Dragon, Daemon Targaryen, and how is his own coin landed? Well, if you want to know this and more about Daemon Targaryen, please stay tuned because today we're getting deep on this rock prince. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and to ring that notification bell below if you want to be notified whenever I upload a new video. So today I will be deep analyzing the show version of Daemon and comparing him to his book counterpart. So today might seem like I'm trying to run the TV show, but honestly that's not my motive. I really enjoyed the show, but there are just a few decisions that the showrunners made that didn't sit quite well with me. So, Daemon Targaryen is one of the most fascinating characters that we see in a Song of Ice and Fire saga, and the coin landing quote, it speaks of greatness and madness. Daemon Targaryen's character can be described quite well with both sides of the coin. There is both madness and greatness in his character, and it makes him a great character. And it just depends on which side of the coin you like to see more. Matt Smith, the one who portrays Daemon Targaryen, explains it quite well in a quote, and he says that with Daemon, the coin is still in the air. I actually think that with Daemon, the coin, it doesn't really land on the side with madness or on the side with greatness, but it lands on its edge, because you cannot describe Daemon as someone who's mad without describing him as someone who is great. You cannot describe him as someone who's great without describing it as someone who's mad. So I think the coin, it just landed on its edge, and that is unique for a Targaryen. Like, you cannot say that Daemon is an Ares or he's Maegor the Cruel. Is just grey. And just listen to what George R.R. Martin says here. Like, George, he is the writer of Fire and Blood and the Song of Ice and Fire book series, and I just want you to hear what he says when he's asked about who his favorite character is. George says that I am notorious for my love of grey characters, and one of the greyest characters in the entire history of Westeros is Daemon Targaryen, the Rogue Prince. Well, you have it. I share that same love for grey characters with George R.R. Martin, and I'm sure as do all the other Game of Thrones Dad fans out there. And I think this is because we all understand that a good character is one who is grey and unpredictable, and one who is neither a hero nor a villain. Like, Daemon's whole character is summarized here perfectly well in a paragraph that we find in the book Fire and Blood, and it reads that Prince Daemon Targaryen was both a great man and a monster. In his day there was no man so admired, so beloved, so reviled in all of Westeros. He was made of light and darkness in equal parts. To some he was the hero, to the others the blackest of villains. To be honest, I think the show did a good job in portraying that description of Daemon. Like, when you see House of the Dragon, you can easily say that Daemon is a grey and an unpredictable character. So you can say whatever you say, but I completely understand the scene that we see in episode 10 when Daemon kind of like chokes Rhaenyra after he hears about Aegon's prophecy. I'm okay. I might say I'm not really quite okay with it, but I'm okay with it. I'm not okay with it because I'm someone who is, as the fans said, I'm a Daenerys fan. I root for Daemon and Rhaenyra to be together. Like, I wouldn't really want to see any tensions between them. But when we're looking at it story-wise, when you look at Daemon's character, you can never say that that scene was out of place. Like, it's something that Daemon can do. He's a character that is unpredictable. He is grey. We can never like everything that Daemon does. And it's established in the pilot of the show. And that, I think this was the only scene that I didn't really get to like Daemon, but I think I can never get to hate him as a whole, as a character, because he is a fascinating guy. For instance, what I'm talking about, I'm saying that no matter what Daemon does, I can never get to dislike him. He will always be among my best characters. And my love for Daemon is an infection, and no matter what he does, we can never get to hate him. And I think I'm not the only one who loves Daemon. There are a lot, the fandom, the people who like Daemon, among the when you're looking at the fandom, I think that it constitutes a very high percentage. And I think it's because of his grayness. We all like Daemon because he is someone who is gray. We love gray characters, right? But the only problem, the issue that I have is with the showrunners, because I think they don't seem to quite understand that we like characters because they're gray. I don't know, maybe that's what I see. I see it as if they don't understand that we like characters because of their grayness. And that's worrying. I'm not making things up. Just look at this interview paragraph by one of the showrunners, Ryan Condor. Ryan says in his own words, "I'm having trouble understanding it. We established right out at the gate in the pilot that Daemon is a fascinating guy. But he's not Ned Stark. So I didn't see it coming." How did you not see it coming, Ryan? Like, it was clear that Daemon was not Ned Stark in the books. But we still loved him. George loves Daemon. One thing people must understand is that the Game of Thrones fandom does not care if someone is a hero or a villain. We understand that we're rooting for characters that are playing the most dangerous game, the Game of Thrones. We don't need the kind of characters like, the kind of Rhaenyra they gave us in episode 10. Like, we need characters who are plotting and conspiring, characters who want to be ahead of the game. A character who isn't really great is kind of weak, in my own opinion. If you look at Alicent and Rhaenyra from the show and then compare them to their book counterparts, you can easily see that they are weak. We don't want our characters to be like Ned Stark. Those characters, they die too quickly. Like, Ned Stark died in the first season of a Game of Thrones. Those characters, they do not survive in the world we are in. They are not supposed to be weak. If you see in the last season of a Game of Thrones, Jon Snow looked very, very, very weak. He could, if the Game of Thrones was really Game of Thrones at the end of the series, Jon Snow could have died because he was very weak. He denied the crown. He killed the Mad. Those characters. Daemon, he was, Jon Snow, he was just weak. Okay, let's hear what Ryan goes on to say in the interview. He says that, "To me, Daemon is the anti-hero of the story. He is a character with a real darkness to him, who's dangerous and charming in equal parts. I knew people would be fascinated by him and latch onto him, but I figured they'll do it in a way they did it with Jaime Lannister or Bronn or the Red Viper. I did not think they would oddly apply this sort of super fandom to him and try to justify every single thing he's done as being intrinsically heroic. It simply isn't. It's not the case, nor will it be in the future." Guys, we love great characters and we are willing to root for them in the bad things they sometimes do. I think that is what D&D failed to understand when they ended the Game of Thrones. Yes, we can talk about Daenerys. She crucified the slaves in Marine. She watched her brother being executed by Khal Drogo. She burned down all the cows at Vice Dothrak. But that doesn't mean that she's a villain. She's just grey, right? We knew that and understood that, and that is why we cheered for her when she did bad things. The only thing that made her a villain in the last episode was just the dark music that was associated with that and the whole long sequence of people burning and running around King's Landing. Like, those are normal characters when you're looking at Game of Thrones. There might be villains in other shows, but we're not looking at shows that are based on Westeros. These are our heroes, not our villains, because we need some people who are smart. People who know that they're playing the most dangerous game in a Game of Thrones. Tyrion says to Daenerys that you are in the great game now, and the great game is terrifying. And if you don't want to be terrified by the great game, be a character like Daemon. Be a character like Daenerys. Be strong, be bold, be like a dragon. You are a dragon. Okay, let's get back to Daemon. I might seem like I'm going much behind, but I think I'm going to make a video, a whole video explaining my whole frustration over the ending of a Game of Thrones. Like, I can never get over that. Like, House of the Dragon was supposed to be this kind of a savior that was going to get us to forget about the bad ending of a Game of Thrones, and it's not supposed to remind us of all of that. Okay, maybe I will get over that war ending once Winds of Winter comes out, but I think that's quite a long way. Winds of Winter, I think House of the Dragon, we're going to see the final season of House of the Dragon before Winds of Winter comes out. I don't know. Maybe. I hope so. I hope not. But I think that's how it's going. Okay, let's get back to Daemon. So, Ryan, the showrunner, he never really expected that people would be so much into Daemon. Like, the fandom will always be in love with great characters. Daemon is still going to be our favorite. Just take a look at this poll. I just bumped into it on Twitter. Like, we can say, that Aemond is somewhat like Daemon. As people say that Aemond is Daemon. But he can never really get the same life from the fandom. We cannot say that Aemond is grey. To be honest, he's not. Aemond is not grey. I don't know. In the books, he wasn't grey, right? He was this monster, and I think they actually tried to make him grey in the show. But if they tried to make him grey with the pink dread thing when he was younger, they failed because that didn't make him grey. Because he just got more villainous and scary as he grew up, and I don't think that's what greyness means. Many people also say that the scene that we see over Blackwater Bay, when Aemon's dragon attacks Lucerys on Arrak's stuff, many people say that the scene, it proves that he is grey. He's a grey character. He didn't really want to kill Aemon. He didn't really want to kill Lucerys, but he couldn't control his dragon and stuff. That whole scene, it doesn't show his greyness. It only shows that he's stupid. He's so stupid. Like, how can you play with a dragon, the most dangerous creature in all of Westeros? It really doesn't make him a good guy, because he was bullying a young kid. The people that are justifying him, he was bullying a young child on a dragon. That's the most terrifying thing that you can all actually do. Those bullies at school, they're actually way more better than a bully that chases you with a dragon, the biggest dragon in the world. So, he was just stupid. And everyone on Team Green, I don't even think that there's anyone on Team Green who's grey. Alicent is not grey, because the changes they made to her, they made her more stupid. Yeah, just like Aemond. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to rent the TV show. I really love the TV show, but there are just these issues that I have that I just have to speak up. And to be honest, as I see, I can sympathize with Team Green, because Team Green was actually failed. I thought we would get to love Team Green, but I'm still Team Black. When I latched onto the TV show, I thought that at the end of it, I would be in love with Team Green, but I'm not. Okay, let's get back to the poll. There's some issue that I want to raise. Okay, just look at the poll. Who are the hecks who voted for Sir Kristen Cole? Like, I need to know those people. Like, that 2%. Wow. I'm actually amazed that by the fact that the people out there who actually like Sir Kristen Cole as a character. Like, can you describe Sir Kristen Cole as a character? He's okay, we're not here to talk about Sir Kristen, we're talking about Daemon, but just like Sir Kristen is so much, he can't control his emotions. Like, I hate people who don't control their emotions. I know we all cannot control our emotions, but Sir Kristen Cole, he is on the he's way off the bar. Okay, and also, I'm not trying to say that Daemon is somewhat of a saint. He is still a grey character, and I'm not saying that the show tried to make him the greyest character he could be. They actually avoided that, and I think they did a good thing, because if they really wanted to make Daemon some crazy grey character, I think there is a right passage in the book Fire and Blood they could have taken that would have made us to hate Daemon. I think if they added that, that would have made everything awkward, and we wouldn't really love Daemon that much. that passage by Mushroom. Okay, I'm going on to read it to you for you to see that sure, Daemon isn't really that much of a villain comparing him to his book counterpart. So the passage reads, it reads like, he began by giving her kissing lessons. We're talking about Daemon and Rhaenyra. Let me close the window. Okay, he began by giving her kissing lessons. If Mushroom can be believed, sorry, I didn't read it quite nicely. He began by giving her kissing lessons, if Mushroom can be believed. From there, the prince went on to show his niece how best to touch a man, to bring him pleasure, an exercise that sometimes involved Mushroom himself and his alleged enormous member. We didn't get to see it. Daemon taught the girl to disrobe enticingly, suckled at her tits to make them larger and more sensitive, and flew with her on Dragonback to lonely rocks in Blackwater Bay, where they could disport naked all day unobserved, and the princess could practice the art of pleasing a man with a mouth. Wow. At night he would smuggle her from a room dressed as a page boy and take her secretly to brothels on the street of Silk, where the princess could observe men and women in the act of love and learn more of these womanly arts from the harlots of King's Landing. Yeah, they went a little bit into it in I think it's episode 4, when they go to the brothel and stuff. But I think it's a little bit better compared to how it is described in the books, because I wouldn't really want to see Daemon teaching Rhaenyra. Like, they don't even finish in the division. Like, if they depicted that, it would have been miserable for me to watch. It's something that it would have been miserable for me, to be honest. But to be honest, I think the showrunners have a problem with Daemon. Also, why do I say so? I'm not going to say much on this, but have you ever looked at the deleted scenes that are to do with Daemon? I don't know why, but I think they were not sure what they really wanted to do with Daemon. Like, they were a bit conflicted, because one does not just delete a scene. So I think, guys, that's everything about Daemon that I could talk about. If you have your thoughts on this, please do comment below in the comment section and share the video. I would really want this page to grow. I'll be discussing more about this as we wait for the second season of House of the Dragon. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and ring on the notification bell below. Until we meet next time.